Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. So thank you very much for the organization committee to have welcomed me here. I heard very highly about this event, so I'm actually very excited to be here, and also the fact that I have some technical issues added to the excitement as well. So tonight I'm going to start with something a bit risky. So I'm going to start with a wide audience to ask a question, and the question is actually a very simple one. So today I want to talk about products, and it's not a talk where I really just tell you something and hope everyone listens. It's actually about really the minds here, all using our intellect, challenging what I'm about to talk about, and challenging really what products are made of, and what defines a product, and what's just the technology that doesn't turn into a product. So the theme is about how technology becomes product, and why sometimes technologies don't become product. So speaking about products, I want to ask the audience, if someone's brave enough to say, a couple of the products they use today. Toilet was one product, yeah. Smartphone, we have iPhone. What else? So Google is nice. So beer, yes. I've seen beer as well. Yep. So I'm going to list some products that I know almost all of you have used. That includes the toilet as well, actually. So if this works, yep. So actually, I want to talk about a bit challenging really the product idea. When we speak about products, immediately it's more digital. But also, if you look about stuff that you use today, the door that you use to do enter, or door handle, it includes the jacket zipper, the zipper that everyone uses probably every day, especially now it's cold. The shoes, the shoelaces, the lights, the light switch, which one of them we lost earlier tonight. The car wheel, the car pedals. And if you think about it, the fact that they made it through centuries, that means they're amazingly built products. So I'm going to speak about digital products as well, but I really want us to challenge really what makes a good product. So if you ask the Oxford Dictionary, that it is defined as a thing that is grown or produced for possibly commercial use. So when you say a product is something that's produced, that doesn't really help much. So we're going to ask, what does it mean to produce? And it means make something using creative skills. So it's very short, it's just 5 words, but actually that 5 words are very critical, because if you look at them, it's, I have big fonts now, so it'll be easier to look. So it's you're making something that did not exist before. If you look about electricity, until a point there was no electricity, and after one point, well, there's electricity now. And it's creative, so you have to be creative. I think that as to the previous presentation as well. And skills. So you really have to have the skills to do this. And so why do I know about products? So my name is Ege, which is an awful product because people don't know how to pronounce it, and I get this everywhere. So it was a bad product. And the thing that I did that I'm fortunate about is really I've seen, I was involved in a lot of products. I've done smaller projects, larger projects. At one point I was doing bioinformatics at Harvard Medical School, helping with a bioinformatics lab. And then, just immediately after, I was doing machine learning classification at MIT Media Lab. Then I was a CTO of an e-commerce startup. And then at one point, I was doing a B2B instant messaging app. And the fact that they're just, list points there, they're not that successful. And now I'm the CEO of a company called Pointr. And my co-founder is also in the audience as well. And I'll like to tell you more about this after the talk. And so I've seen a lot of products, and some of them did amazing. Some of them, struggled, and some of them just failed. So I think what I want to talk is actually very simple, which is about really every product begins with someone producing it, which is the people and the intellect that we all have. And again, it's very simple. I'm going to talk about 2 mindsets: the engineering mindset and the business mindset. And it's a very simple concept, but actually that defines everything. All the products that I listed earlier and all the products I'm going to talk about in a second. So the engineering mindset. So I'm an engineer myself as well. Not sure if you can tell by the glasses. So it's great. We are meant to be solving problems, and we solve problems amazingly well. We tackle problems. But it's a curse at the same time, which is just like a doctor that cannot survive if there are no patients. For engineers, you need to have problems, which means if there are no problems, even if there are no problems, you'll just go in a way where, well, I need to find problems. So if you I've seen offices where you have nothing to worry about, and the team just works on changing the office layout, changing their workstation, changing the software they're using, upgrading their operating system on the phone. So we constantly try to find problems, and we try to solve them all the time, which is great, but it's also a great curse, because that can be a big showstopper if you're trying to build a product. The second mindset, on the other hand, and I think it's quite the opposite, is the business mindset, which is, the business mindset really, again, I mean, these are abstract examples that not everyone's like this, but it's wired completely differently because, even if there are problems, they'll go, well, there will be problems, that's fine. It's talking about the marketing. It's going to talk about, okay, there will be problems, but let me take this to the market. Let me take this to the user. Let me see how people react to this. There will be problems, but I'll solve it in the next version. So it really does clash at times. And if you then combine the two, in a unique harmony, then you have amazing products. So I'll give you a hypothetical example. So I'll say there's a very nice day for golf. And you have two people. One is your engineer guy, and the other one is your business guy. And they're very close friends, and they decide to go out and play golf. But the problem is they don't have a golf ball. And instead, they have a basketball. So in that, again, I'm being a bit extreme here, and it's a bit stereotyping, I know. But just to prove the point, your engineer will say, well, you can't play golf, and he'll list you maybe 10 reasons why you should not play golf. And even if you finally convince him to play golf with you, he'll go, well, I can't be accountable for the outcome because you're making me do something that's not designed for. And basically, I don't want to play golf, and even if I play, I'm not responsible for my actions. Whereas the business person will go, okay, we're missing the golf ball, and I want to play golf, and I have a basketball. First of all, he'll think probably, well, why is there no golf ball? And is there a scarcity in this country? Maybe I can import some golf balls. And he will think, well, okay, we just come up with a new game. Is there a market for this? Can I actually get other people to play golf with basketball? Can I make money from this? So it's really, the business person will want to play and will think of that as an opportunity where the engineer will go, this is madness, I'm not playing golf with you. And so what happens when you mix the two, when you get those two people to get along very well? And I think you all know this company I'm just about to talk about. So Apple is an amazing company. And if you think about the two main people behind this, it's still you're a perfect engineer and you're a perfect business person. The perfect engineer who doesn't mind solving any problem he comes across and solves it very well. And the perfect business person who goes, well, you know what, there are issues, but I'm going to package it so well, everyone will buy this. And then the next generation, I'm going to do this. And then, 2 years later, I'm going to do this in a smaller iPod. And so that's an easy example. So, you can prove most things with Apple because they're so successful. But I'm going to talk about a different company. So has anyone heard of this company? Really? Wow. So the last time I gave this talk, no one knew about this. So it was more impressive. But anyways, only very few people knew about this company. So I'm giving you a clue. It says Yoshida Kogyo Kabushiki Gaisha. Ring any bell? Right. So it's actually, and I can bet that all of you almost have used their products, and they do the zipper. So it's an amazing product because, and it will tie into to my speech there. It's about really simplicity, and these guys have made the zipper. It doesn't have a lot of features, but it solves the problem very well, and everyone uses the product today. So, and they have facilities in 71 countries. It's a Japanese company. So, kind of the point is, why does it matter? A good product really is about, first of all, the first principle is really it should be simple to use. And I'm going to give some physical examples. So, I'm sure most of you have heard of Shazam. If you look at interface, it's just that simple to use. I mean, you can't go wrong. 80% of the screen, wherever you press, you'll press that button, and you'll understand what it does. And it's not that much different than this guy. So unless you were born with a 3D printer, probably at around the age of 4 or 6, you learned how to use scissors. And since then, you know how to use scissors. And it's not because it's amazingly complicated or you had a tutorial or you had to learn it. It's just literally as soon as you grabbed it, probably you figured it out yourself in 5 seconds and then probably hopefully not cut yourself, but started cutting stuff. And it just works. And that's a beautiful product because it's so simple to use and a bit not that different than Shazam. And so when next time, if someone asks, well, shall we add more features? Or this is just too simple, we need to make a difference. I think zipper example and the scissor example are good examples because they're just so simple, but they do the job. And if you think about Uber, for instance, if you're speaking about digital, all they do really is just match you with a taxi or a driver on the street that's nearby. They don't do rocket science, they don't do, they're an amazing company. It's not because they do amazing features. It's silly they do one thing very well, and they just solve their problem. So really, next time, if an engineering team really talks about, yeah, we should have more features because, this product X has this feature, but we don't have it. Well, maybe you don't need that extra feature. And the other one is the really clear user value. So you should start with the user value, and if the user value should exist, and you should not try to solve a problem that does not exist. I know it's very vague what I'm saying, but so it should be a real problem. So if you're spending the next 6 months on just to make something 10% faster, a bit like the optimization example, or if you're just trying to enable patients with some technology, but to be able to use it, they have to buy this amazing, expensive hardware that's not found anywhere except one local town, then you're out of luck. Even if you have an amazing technology, no one's going to be able to use it. So really, from day one, when you're working on product, you should be having the focus for what the product will look like and how will people use it. So, well, example, I love Google, but for instance, Google World was a good example for me because they have all the marketing budget they need, they have all the engineers, and it's a problem they're solving. So mobile payments will happen, whether it's this year or in 2 years, people will be using mobile wallets. And just if you contrast the Google and Apple one, Apple started with, again, not the fantastic technology, but it just happened to work. And as soon as they announced it in the UK, everyone around me was, I went to this cafe, I went to the supermarket, it was working. With Google Wallet, you had to go to a specific shop in New York and then tweet about it, and that was it. So really, starting with solving the user value and making sure it's valuable for users on day one is critical for most products. So, and then there are some companies that are amazing that even the problem did not exist. They were so visionary that they managed to find problems that people, they thought that people would like. So Facebook, nobody was dying to say, well, I need a wall to write on, or I need to poke people, or I need to tag people. But they just saw the opportunity. And at the time, there were so many social networks. I think at the time I'd been members of maybe 5 or 10, and just like nice, friendly ones. And it's really, they did manage to go through because, and also they were the first company to do the App Store. So really, it's a combination of nice products and the good business thinking, and that's what made Facebook today and Twitter. I don't think anyone was just dying to send 140 character texts to people back 10 years ago. So really, some companies are so clever about really seeing the future. And actually, on that point, I want to refer to another example. So the other really common excuse is really, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough chance, support. You can insert your problem in that pink bracket there. It's really, sometimes maybe that's just, you're just creating some virtual barriers for yourself. So I'm going to read, so this is an email, and if you've ever spoken with VCs, that you will get similar responses, you might get similar responses, I've done. And this was, they tried 7 VCs, I think, and they just heard back from 5 of them. And almost everyone had the same theme. It is, hi Brian, apologies for delayed response, so a bit like the university admission was where we regret to inform. So same one, again, same one. This guy was nice, he just used 2 lines. He didn't mind going to a kind of a longer length. So they all thought it was a nice guy and nice idea, but they all said it really didn't meet their strategy. And this company is probably everyone in this room has heard of, and also maybe majority of you have used, and this is, we're talking about Airbnb. And they just were looking for $150,000 back then. So really, if you talk about, well, I didn't have investment, that's why I can't do this. Well, maybe you should think about Airbnb, and it's really, don't create virtual barriers for yourself. A lot of good products out there don't need marketing. So the engineers in the audience will know GitHub, which did not have any marketing, but was solving the problem so well, it just spread. And not that much different than the zipper or even Louis Vuitton bags. So the Louis Vuitton bags is, I tried to find a reference for this, I couldn't, but when they started, they had leather, and they had ordered a lot of leather for a train deal that they were about to make for seats, I think. And the last second, the deal got canceled, so they were left with a lot of leather. So your engineer would go, well, this is crazy, I'm going to kill myself, I have so much leather and I have out of money. But the business guy said, well, you know what? Let's turn this into something else. They made the most durable luggage back then. And their luggage was so durable that people loved the product. And that one thing led to another, and they never talked about a multi-billion company probably. So really, I could talk forever. My friends know this. I'm not going to. I don't want to take too much of your time. But the bits that I really want to get across is, really working on real problems with feasible solutions. So on day one, I'm not suggesting you know exactly what's going to happen in 2 years. You can't know that, but at least it's a feasible solution. People will be able to use it, and people will, will find it easy to use. I love this quote from Steve Jobs, which is, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. It really kind of sums up what I was trying to say, which is really don't over-engineer. It's more about how can you get rid of the buttons, just like Shazam did, to be able to do just one button rather than, well, let me put the Facebook button there and then let me do more buttons there. And the lack of marketing, chance, investment are not really real problems. There are so many people who have solved this, and and it's really, that should not be stopping you from anything. So yes, that's my talk today. Vielen Dank for having me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.